there is so much fulfillment when it comes to self-discipline or mastering the mind or whatever you want to call it. Too often or not, I see it with clients, I see people in the gym, even without health and fitness, people struggle. And it's because they cannot get out their own way. The 6 inches between their ears stops them from getting where they want to be. I know this because when I played professional golf, I was my own worst enemy. I have a pretty good swing. I had a good I had a work ethic. I had everything, but the worst thing by far, the thing that held me back, was this. However, I'm very grateful because that's where I've learned so many lessons that I now apply to my own coaching business and to my clients. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, is how can we get our minds ready to succeed? Now, I'm going to talk you through some principles, some strategies, and hopefully you can apply these into your own fitness journey or even beyond that. So first things first is practicing patience. And I say this with a smile on my face because if you know me, I cannot be the most patient person. It's always something I'm practicing. Certain areas in my life, I can be patient in. You know, I can, even with clients, I'm very patient with clients. But when it comes to my own stuff, I can be a little pushy because I get after it, you know. So it's not a bad trait, but it's always something I've got to check myself with. But practicing patience is so key. And especially when you're going through physical changes, you're working on fitness goals, you want to be able to practice patience and trust the process. Having trust in the process and your coach, your own body, your behaviors, your attitude, that is when true results and true success will come from, okay? But really allowing yourself to almost get absorbed in the process and just accepting the outcome day by day by day and being patient because you will be rewarded at the end of it, okay? So it's respecting the process, which I'm going to get to in a second. But when it comes to your health and fitness goals, I tell people, we are dealing with the human body. It is a complex system. It is a bunch of cells. Things are always changing. So no matter what tracking mechanisms we have, what strategies we put in place, how good the stimulus is, you know, what the optimal amount of protein is, at the end of the day, there's so many things that either are moving that we can't control everything. We really can't. So it's controlling what we can, but also accepting that we are dealing with so many variables that we can't control. Okay, and that's where the patience comes in. You know, you do what you can, but being patient with whatever the outcome is, accepting whatever the outcome is, but knowing that if you are controlling what you can and you're doing what you can, as in you are strength training, you are controlling your food, you're getting enough sleep, you're controlling your stress, you will see results. But within all that, there will be moments where when you do question, is this working? Or maybe you do have, you know, life happens and you do kind of, you know, lack of a better term, fall off the wagon or whatever the phrase is. But you respect the process enough that you're patient with it and you just get back to it. Okay, so you practice patience every single day. You're patient with yourself, you're patient with, you know, whoever is, if you're someone on the outside and you're looking in on someone else's fitness goals, maybe it's your husband or your wife that's going through a fitness journey, you're patient with them. But practicing patience is such a good trait and it's always something we can get better at, including myself. So accept that you're dealing with the human body and there's a lot of things at bay. There's a lot of variables that we're dealing with, but being patient with ourselves is so, so key. One thing I like to remind clients of is when we're working through our goals is typically people are in a gym or people hire me because they're not happy with something. They're not happy with how they look, they're not happy with where they're at in life. They're trying to achieve something, whether that's fat loss, muscle gain, just overall strength. They're trying to get healthier for their family, whatever the case may be. Typically what got them there in the first place, it didn't happen overnight. Okay, it didn't happen in a matter of weeks. Typically it's years, possibly even decades of bad habits that we're trying to undo. Talk about patience, okay? When we were getting to that point, we weren't like, oh, I'm going to be patient because I'm getting unhealthy. But for some reason, when it comes to doing or changing habits and going towards the greater good, we become impatient with it. We want the results then. We very much live in a society of instant gratification, and it can screw with us big time. And I tell people, like, recognize it, that you are surrounded by instant gratification. That does not mean you have to fall into the trap of instant gratification. You can choose the narrow path. You can choose, okay, everyone's going that way, I'm going to go this way. I actually encourage people to do that. That's something that I used to be embarrassed about. I was always kind of the kid that went the other way than everyone else. But there was a lot of fear there. And now I'm kind of leaning into that, and it's crazy the things that are moving in my life right now. But undoing bad habits takes time. It takes patience to undo them. It's not going to happen overnight, because the habits that got you there in the first place didn't happen overnight either. So when it comes to your transformation, or when it comes to any type of goals you have, especially physique goals, as in health and fitness, we are dealing with the human body. We have to be patient with it, okay? Getting this right is what's going to help you. So if you can, before you start on or embark on any change or transformation, you want to get your mind right and almost prepare yourself to be patient. So amongst all the workout plans and the meal plans or whatever you're going to be doing, get your mind right that you are in this for the long run and you're going to be patient. Okay, so get your mind right to be patient. Okay, start practicing that now. Practice that with your spouse, practice that with your kids, practice that in traffic. That's a hard one. But being able to be patient is such a good trait. And like I said, when I'm going through these, I'm not, hopefully not coming across as self-righteous, because I am nowhere near perfect, absolutely not perfect. But I'm constantly trying to get better at what I need to get better at. And one of them is being patient. Moving on to number 2, and I've got 4 points here. Number 2 is to respect the process, okay? Or for those of you that are in the States, I believe you say process. I think I should know that by now. I've been living here a long time. But respect the process. Okay. Calories in versus calories out. That's the law of thermodynamics. That's where I'm going to start with this point. I am yet to come across someone who has managed to cheat that system. It is not possible. It's almost like saying gravity doesn't exist. Calories in versus calories out. I don't care what your goals are. If you need to lose weight, you need to eat less, move more. There is truth to that. If you want to put on weight, as in put on size, put on muscle, you need to consume more than you are burning. On top of that, there is obviously all these subheadings as in, your macro distribution, your training, your meal timing, all this stuff. But overall, calories in versus calories out will get you your results. Respect that. Do not try and cheat it. It's a waste of time, probably a waste of money, and it's not going to do your health or fitness any good. And all it is going to lead to is frustration. It's going to lead to relapses. It's just going to lead to this vicious circle of trying to cheat, failing, trying to cheat, failing, trying to cheat, failing. What does this look like? What am I talking about? I am referring to fat burners out there that don't work. Even people that try to, program hopping. Again, I've been victim of that. I've been victim to, I'm going to try this exercise to try grow my triceps. Just because I find this optimal exercise does not mean all of a sudden I'm going to have massive triceps. There's no way to cheat the process. You've got to respect it. You've got to respect that if you want to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. If you want to gain weight, you've got to be strength training, and you've got to be in a slight calorie surplus, or maintenance, or just slight calorie surplus. But respect the process. Again, we're dealing with the human body, so don't bother cheating it, okay? There's no hacks to this. So when you see a workout that's like the fat loss workout, please ignore it. It's not a fat loss workout. It absolutely is. It's just a regular workout. The fat loss is going to come from your nutrition, being in that calorie deficit. So please do not fall victim to different hacks, different strategies that are going to get you these results. At the end of the day, there's fundamentals we need to hit. You hit those, you will get results, okay? At the end of the day, you'll be rewarded for good decisions and you'll suffer for the bad ones. So what does this look like? If you strength train and you're in a calorie deficit and you get enough sleep, you're staying hydrated, you're managing your stress, you will see results. If you make bad decisions, as in, you're having 6 cups of coffee a day and you're consuming fast food every single day and you're running off 5 hours sleep, you will suffer from that, okay? There's no way to cheat that. There's no way to undo that. It's these practices that happen day over day, over time, being patient with. That's what leads to a good result. So respect that. Okay, respect that you will be rewarded for good decisions. Okay, and that's across anything. Okay, not just health and fitness. You will be rewarded for good decisions. I want you to view this principle as this is you respecting yourself. Although you're respecting the process, you're also respecting yourself. You're respecting yourself enough that you deserve this. Okay? When I was making notes about this, I wasn't too keen on using the word deserve, so I'm going to put that in quotations, that you deserve this. It's almost like you are required to do this. So if you are in a place where you do not particularly feel healthy or happy in yourself, it's not like you deserve to be healthy and happy, it's you're required to feel healthy and happy. There's a deeper reason why we're all on this planet. I'm not going to get too much into that, but there's a reason you're here, and there's something that you need to do in your life. There's a purpose for every single person. And by you leaning into or not leaning into what you are required to do because of your own bad decisions, it's disrespectful to yourself. Okay? So respect the process enough, respect yourself enough, and know that you're required to do something. And if your health is getting in the way, use that frustration, the guilt, the shame, whatever it is, whatever you're feeling right now as I'm talking, use that to drive you. Use that to drive you to better change, okay? If you change nothing, nothing's going to change, okay? So respect yourself, respect the process, and know that you are required to do something, okay? Point number 3 is do not be a sheep. I touched on this in the point number 1, is following the crowd is never really a good thing. It depends what crowd you're following. But if you kind of blend into society, going back to the instant gratification, blend into what other people are doing but it's not really working, you'll be another sheep, okay? You'll just be average. Now, not there's anything wrong with average, but I feel like everyone's got so much more potential in them. We have all these unique traits and we should lean into them more, and we discover them when we don't be a sheep, when we're not just following the crowd, okay? Does that mean break off and do your own thing and isolate yourself from community? Absolutely not. Just be in the right community for you, okay? Be around people that are going to boost you up, that encourage you, that push you, make you feel uncomfortable. Be around those types of people. You don't want to be around people where you're almost like leading the sheep and like almost leading the sheep into a river where you're going to drown, okay? You don't want to be that. You want to be someone who's following, taking the narrow path, and you've got people around you supporting you. And you never know who you're going to inspire along the way. You never know who you're going to meet along the way. But make sure you're not following a crowd that's not leading you anywhere. This can be challenging because it is in our human nature to, latch ourselves onto community. We're human beings. We're never meant to be in isolation. So I can understand it. It is scary. I've been through this. It's scary to kind of break off and do your own thing. But as you break off, it's amazing who will kind of come into your life at that point and encourage you, and it's almost like you just grow. You become this like new person, okay? It is, lack of a better term, it is a transformation. It really is. But it takes balls. I'm just going to say it. It takes balls to do this. So make sure that you're not following a crowd, that you don't feel fulfillment, don't feel like you're getting pushed. Associate yourself with the right types of people. Follow those who are different, who are out there, who are go-getters, who, like I said, who build you up, not break you down. Those who we spend time with the most are those who will end up becoming. I believe there is a study on this. I'm not sure what it is, but I remember coming across it. And it was the people that are like in our circle. I think it's like the 5 people you associate with most. That's the people you end up becoming. Okay? So think about who's in your closest circle. And maybe it's time you need to make a change. Okay? And that doesn't mean you need to be rude about it. It doesn't mean you have to be self-righteous about it. It's just start making decisions now that are leading you into who you need to become. Okay? Change is good. Just remember that. If you change nothing, nothing's going to change. If you stay right now, what you're doing right now, and you're going to be a sheep, it's not going to lead you into anything better. You're just going to keep on following that same herd. Okay? Or is it flock? I think it's a flock. Okay, last thing. Be open-minded. This is something I've been thinking about a lot recently. and especially when it came to my own goals, is I need to be a bit more open-minded with them. Okay, and we're taught, especially like in our generation, to think of SMART goals. So that's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. I believe I got that right. Now, these aren't necessarily a bad pointers to follow when you're coming up with your goals, but what I find, it almost puts limits to our goals. Like if your goal is I want to lose 10 pounds of fat in, X amount of weeks, and I'm going to do that by working out and eating less, that's not bad. It's still better from where you came from. But when I was thinking about this, I'm trying to think of, okay, my goal this year is to put on as much muscle as possible. If I make a SMART goal towards that, well, that kind of caps me. And in my head, I want to grow as much as possible. I want to grow as much muscle as I physically can in this year. That's my goal. That's literally my goal. So don't put limits on yourself, okay? Now, this doesn't always work with every single goal, because obviously, to tell yourself I want to lose as much fat as possible, obviously if you continue doing that, it becomes unhealthy. But there is certain instances where you can be like, I'm going to commit and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to gain as much muscle as I can this year. I'm going to commit to my goals this year. I'm going to hire a coach and totally commit to this process this year as much as I can. Okay, committing to the process, that's a good goal for you. Let me ask you, do you believe in miracles? This is something that I speak to my clients a lot with, because so often we get in our own way. Like if they come to me and they have these goals and they almost like, as they're telling me, it's like, but I know I can't achieve it. I tell them, I'm like, well, why not? Why can't you lose 50 pounds? It's like, well, I've tried it in the past, I've done this, I've done that. And I'm like, well, let's take 50 pounds out of it. Let's just see how much weight we can lose. Let's just do that. Sticking to the process. And I also say to them, like, if you believe in miracles, then why not? This isn't exactly like a miraculous thing. It's a very good thing, but I wouldn't exactly say it's miraculous. But if you believe in miracles, then why can't you believe that you can lose 10 pounds? And miracles happen. Miracles happen. Whether you're, believe it or not, whatever you believe in, if you believe there's a higher power, if you don't, whatever this is not a podcast on that, but whatever you believe in, if miracles happen every single day, like these things happen. So why can't you lose the 10 pounds of fat? Why can't you step up on stage in a bodybuilding competition? Why can't you win a golf tournament? Why can't you get that promotion? Okay, so these things happen, and if we open up our minds, it's amazing what is brought into our lives and what we end up achieving. Okay. If you don't believe that it will happen, then it's never going to happen. Okay, you've got to believe in these things to happen for them to happen. Okay. It's not just going to miraculously happen if you don't. If you're so close-minded and you don't believe you can't lose the 10 pounds, then of course you're not going to lose the 10 pounds. Okay? You need to believe it. You need to believe, then you'll see it. You don't see, then believe. You believe, then see. Okay? Believe that there's more for you as well. And this kind of goes back to what we're required to do. But you have to believe that there's more for you in this life. I love my job. I love working with clients. But it's... I always tell people, like, the training is easy, nutrition's kind of hard, but really understanding the client's deeper why and what makes them tick, and believing them in themselves, that they're doing this for them, that takes time. It builds up as I build a relationship with my clients, but it's getting them to believe that there's more for them, and it's so much more than just a number on a scale or a PB in a gym or stepping up on stage. There's so much more for them. So believing there's more for you will really, again, it will open up your mind to the possibilities that you can achieve. I'm going to leave you with this last point, and that is to always be seeking. And this is something that I see a lot, especially like I said, with busy individuals. Like, they have other responsibilities, they have kids they need to take care of, a house, all this other stuff. They're running around, and they almost just like get complacent. They accept, like, this is my life. It's to be there for other people. It's to be with my kids. It's to, take care of my house. And there's nothing wrong with that, but they have this lack of fulfillment, lack of purpose. And if that is you, and you have no idea where to start, you have no idea what your purpose is or no idea what your health and fitness goals are, always be seeking what that next step is, okay? Yes, take moments to look back and be like, wow, I've really achieved this. But always be seeking, okay? Whether that's, better practices in the gym, it's to improve your sleep, it's to grow your business, it's to be a good role model for your kids. But always be searching. There's never a limit to what we can achieve. And when we start getting our minds around that, that's when greatness happens. And I don't know about you, but that is something that I want. And that's what I'm striving for. I'm always going to be seeking, and that's going to change. Whatever path I'm going down, I will be seeking down different paths. But always be aiming to get better. Don't put limits on yourself. Believe in what you're supposed to be doing. If you're scared, then just start taking that next step. That is part of you seeking, okay? So I hope these pointers or strategies help you. It's more perspective than anything. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to get started. Don't be afraid for being different. If anything, embrace it. It's something, like I said, something I've really struggled with. I was totally a sheep for most of my youth, and it's freeing when you just start leaning into who you are, your authentic self, and don't put limits on your goals, okay? Especially when it comes to your health and fitness, this can be so hindering for so many people. So have principles in place, have the right people around you that can boost you up, that can get you healthy, can get your mind right, where you can achieve things that you never thought were possible. Okay, I'm going to wrap up the episode there. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you take something from it. I know it can maybe be quite heavy for some people, but this is practices, strategies, perspectives that I've learned over the years. And if I'm being honest, I'm excited to learn more. I'm excited to continue growing, to continue seeking, and to bring people into this circle that I can help and we can all encourage each other. Hope you like this episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I appreciate every single one of you people that are listening, and I'll see you guys next week.